Hello and welcome to the second episode of Down the Rat Hole, a podcast where we deep dive into some interesting stories on the internet. Today with us I have Andrew.
That's me.
I'm not exactly sure what today's theme is, except I know when I read all these stories I was just like, what? What is happening? That's
Confusion.
just confusion, shock. Um yeah, I don't know, but let's get right into it. Story number 1 is coming from r/TIFU. Today I fucked up. Tifu. Okay. Today I fucked up by repeatedly shooting my boss in the head.
I think he is the asshole. I know that's not the right subreddit, but uh, yeah, no, he's an asshole. I think.
Went paintballing with my office colleagues as an end-of-year celebration. In a game, I ran to the edge of the arena hoping to flank the other team. Two people on the other team had the same idea. We found ourselves in a stand off behind some wooden cover. I shot the first person quickly, and they called their hit and went away. It was then between me and one other guy. I'm going to call him Dave.
Dave. Oh,
Instead of wearing a full helmet, Dave wore only a mask, which left the rear and top side of his head uncovered. Unluckily for him, the top of his head was visible to me through a slit in his wooden cover. I considered for a moment what to do. Do I shoot him in the head and cause immense pain and agony? Do I wait for a shot against a more protected part of his body? I only need to shoot him once for him and I to be on our way. And by wearing a mask and not a helmet, he knew full well what could happen. So I steadied my aim and shot him through the gap in the wood, clean onto the top of his head, and I heard a scream, "You bastard!" But he didn't call the hit. He didn't even move from his position. So I shouted, "Call your hit!" But he didn't respond. I am sure he heard me because I saw his head turn slightly when I spoke, but he still didn't call his hit. So I shot him again, and again, and again, in the exact same spot on the top of his head. With each shot, he let out a grunt, but did not call his hit. It was kind of satisfying, actually, seeing the paintballs explode on the top of his head. At this point, his head is a yellow/red paintballing mess, but he still did not call his hit. Eventually, a marshal comes nearby, and I tell him that he does not call his hit, but as you can see, he is covered in paint. What does he think, is my question. It's like, no one can see me. No one's gonna notice. Yeah, like, I think after the second one, I would have, like, ran away.
Oh yeah, no,
Because that's gotta hurt.
You gotta call your hit at that
I'm
point.
also imagining this guy's bald. For some reason.
That or his hair's just so poofy that it's just you can't feel it.
It's absorbing.
Maybe?
It's going in there. Okay. Let's continue. The marshal tells me to shoot him once more to see it for himself. So, right through that slit in the wood, I shot him in the exact same spot on the top of his head. He didn't call his hit, and the marshal pulls him out and escorts him away. I think it's so funny calling them a marshal, too. To a fucking paintball range.
Sounds so scary.
Official, yeah.
It feels like they have an actual firearm.
Yeah, they do. If you don't call your hit, they just shoot you.
So the next part of the story is they shot out his kneecaps.
Oh my god.
Unfortunately, it's just...
That's the rules of the game,
Don't
man.
do the crime if you can't take the punishment.
I then see him after the game, crying his eyes out and holding a bag of frozen peas against his head, walking towards the car park. This grown man is
what was
just sobbing.
His end goal to begin with?
I don't know. It seems like he got shot at least like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
I think second or third time, I would have been like, I'm out. Because have you ever been shot with a paintball gun?
I haven't
Like,
done
with no
paintball,
protection?
but
It
I do have a few
fucking,
airsoft scars.
it fucking hurts, and it will
It's so
leave
bad.
like a mark on you. It hurts a lot. That's
It's
why
been
you
like
have protection in these games.
10, 15 years, and it's finally gone. Like, it's like I the skin's like slightly different toned there, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's forever ingrained. Dude, his head's
Okay.
probably just a valley now.
Yeah, just a
Curves
dent.
in.
Turns out it was my line manager, my boss. I'm not sure whether to tell him it was me that shot him after the Christmas holidays. Okay, edit number 1. I did not expect this post to blow up. To those of you who are worried I did serious damage to him, he is mostly fine, I think.
Mostly, and I think in the same sentence.
He has a sore head and was quite embarrassed from crying in front of his staff. It was your basic rent to the public paintball gun that did not possess any real dangerous power behind it. Though getting shot in the exact same spot over and over again probably increased the pain quite a bit. I don't know, I feel like even like the weakest paintball guns hurt.
Oh god, yeah.
In the back of your head. Now some have said he will recognize my voice. I didn't think about that. Fuck. I'm sure my voice from within a paintball helmet at a distance from behind some cover was heard, but probably not super recognizable given the circumstances. I don't think he got a really good look at me either, so I think I'm in the clear. To be sure, I checked my calendar for the coming week and can see my boss has scheduled a meeting for everyone that attended the paintball event. Depending on how that goes, I may post a further update in the near future. And that is exactly what we have today, is the update.
Oh. I've never seen the update.
I have not seen the update either.
I just figured he got fired or never found out.
Last week, I noticed my boss scheduled a meeting for everyone that went paintballing that day. Today was that meeting. I was anxious all day and barely got any work done. I kept reading comments back to myself about how he was going to recognize my voice, or that he had a mental breakdown of some kind that I irresponsibly failed to notice before shooting another 4 paintballs straight at his head. So I was right. He got hit at least 5 times.
Dude, I just imagine this guy just found out his, like, wife died.
He's like, I still gotta do that yearly
retreat.
paintball.
No, it happened while he was there, maybe.
He's looking at his phone.
And
I
now
don't know if you can have your phone on you. It's probably not a good.
Just got gunned down.
Just keeps going. It didn't help that people in the office were talking about how our line manager cried at paintballing. All I added to the conversation where I was like, oh yeah, I saw that after the game. What happened? And wow, that's crazy. We're being very not suspicious here. I can imagine he's like shaking, sweating. That's so crazy. I wonder what happened. It became clear that nobody knew what happened. Most people thought that he had fell and banged his head really bad or something. Everyone knew he cried, even the people that didn't go paintballing, but nobody actually knew what happened. Only I knew he didn't hit his head. He just took the same shot over and over to the exact same spot. He didn't call his hit and then cried afterwards. That's all that happened. Once we were sat and settled into the conference room, the boss made it clear that he didn't want anyone in the office discussing out-of-work activities during working hours. Word must have gotten around that he was crying, and that was a topic of conversation. Any out-of-work activities? Imagine you walk in, and you're like, hey, Susan, how was your weekend? And your boss comes in, he's like, you're fired. Stop it. You are homeless now because you can't pay your mortgage because we're talking about your weekend. So, we take the kids to the pool, and then just slaps the fucking firing notice on the desk.
You get shot by a paintball.
The marshal shows up. Shoot him again. Let me see if he's
I need to make sure.
I still can't get over that he asked to make sure as well.
I just
like,
imagine
let me see it. Because he's covered in paint. He already had 4 shots to him at that point. He's like, one more, just so I can tell.
I mean, who could possibly know? He just has a red, white, and brown back of the head.
He's just dripping
He's
with.
just covered in
They're
all
like
sorts of
caked
different
on there.
coats of paint.
He said he is fine, nothing serious, and then said something that took every inch of my composure not to react. I don't know if I can quote him word for word, but he said something like this. I raised my hand and was running back to base, and that's when I slipped in the mud and hit my head against a barrel. When he said those words, I felt like it was a standoff. He glanced around the room looking for a reaction, but I didn't give him one. Internally, though, I was like, what in the actual fuck are you on about? I literally watched those paintballs one by one splat off the top of your head over and over before you walked out of the game by a marshal. Also, it was the top of your head that was sore. Now, unless you dived like a dolphin into that barrel head first, I don't see how that would be a part of your body that got injured if you actually slipped and hit something. Externally, though, my face tried to mirror the rest of the room, which is a mixture of compassion and surprise. Shout out to all of you that commented that I should practice the shocked Pikachu face. That's literally what I went for. He still doesn't know who did it. Everyone else believes his story. I'm not sure whether I should let it go or call him out on it. Edit 1. My boss has sent out a late work email informing our team he will be taking the rest of the week off to recover a little bit more. He's just really emotionally hurt from this. In response, my colleagues in our group chat have decided that we should pool some money together to buy him a get well soon gift and treat him to a work lunch next week when he is back. If anything interesting happens at lunch, I'll be sure to post an update.
There's no update.
I don't believe so. Yeah, and everyone's just like, let him save face. Be glad you're getting away with it. I wish that dude luck.
Oh yeah.
I want to know how old the guy was.
I want to know both
Because,
parties.
like, it's a little bit different if we're shooting, like, a little old man in the head repetitively versus, like, someone that's 5 years older than you.
Yeah. I just imagine 30-year-old kind of jock office manager kind of
Yeah.
stereotypes. What I got from that doesn't want to seem weak.
I just... People had to watch him walk out with paint all over him. And crying.
Covered.
On his head. He fell into a barrel and the paintballs just, like, exploded out of it.
Yeah, it was a paint barrel. Yeah. Totally.
Took a week off to recover. The embarrassment. I think I would have just quit after that.
I tripped and fell.
My head.
I need a week off. I mean, I would love to trip and fall and take a week off.
Same.
But man,
that's the goals.
Own up to it.
And also
Dude,
saying...
you could have gotten workers' comp. Could have been like, yo,
well, they
assaulted.
weren't...
Come on.
They weren't at work. They were... You're but right. It's so funny that, like, he does this every year for his staff, and then he's like, don't talk about out-of-work activities that he planned.
Oh, yeah.
And how strictly is that going to be enforced?
Not. I don't think you can... I don't know.
Okay.
You might be able to do that, but I don't know how long it can last. That's the real thing.
On to our next story. This one's a little bit shorter. This is coming from r/am I in the wrong? Am I the asshole for letting my son beat up a furry at his school? This one I saved because I did read this one through because I was just so shocked. And also by the verdict that people are giving. If you look at the comments,
ooh, those are...
We'll get there. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll find out. I haven't read it yet, so...
A few years ago, when my son was in high school, he went to school with this kid. His name was Zach. My son brought it to my attention that his thing would that this thing, calling a child a thing already, would come to school dressed in furry costumes. Now, that's not even the worst part about it. My son said that this thing would come up and touch him in a way he felt uncomfortable. Okay, I did not see that part. But also, I want to know, are we in a full fursuit? Are we
Yeah,
wearing...
yeah. I want to know.
Because
Is it
I feel like that wouldn't be, like, allowed. Or are we just wearing, like, cat ears?
is it the
And, like,
Razor Kraken Kitty Edition?
when my son came home and told me about this, I was upset, and visibly so was my son. I brought this to the school's attention, and they, quote unquote, said, "We let kids express themselves." I made sure to tell them about the inappropriate touching, and they said, "We can't do anything about it." I feel like, baby, you can. That's not
Yeah,
how that
that's
works.
not. No.
After this situation, I brought it into my own matter. I told my son that if that thing touches him again, to knock it out. So, as you can imagine, this thing does it again, and this thing does it to my son again the next day, and my son turns and punches him right in the ball sack. Then they start fighting. This thing starts barking because he got his ass beat.
Interesting.
I get a call from the school once I come in that things parents are right there. I keep getting confused because OP is referring to a person as this thing, and it's like messing me up.
Yeah.
Once I come in, that thing's parents are right there, also dressed in furry costumes. I explained to the admin that since your staff wanted to not take matters into your own hands, that I did it myself. The admin quotes, "That behavior is not acceptable at the school." Okay, but wearing a furry costume is? Long story short, my son ended up getting a week of suspension, so am I in the wrong? Okay, I did read it for more thoroughly this time. I think yes and no. I think that tell your child to defend themselves against something
Absolutely.
like this, but
Absolutely.
we're making it about the wrong thing.
Yes.
It's like,
So there's nothing wrong with being a furry. I don't care. It's not for
I'll
me.
pull out my
But you
iPad
can.
right now, and
Please do not draw me and force me into one. Nothing wrong with it. I think it's cool. Do your own thing.
maybe don't assault people.
Don't assault people. Don't touch people inappropriately or at all in some cases.
The top comment is, your kid that kid should have had his ass beat for even thinking about going to school dressed up as a furry was a good idea. That's not what this is about. I think this person is an asshole for the way they wrote it. And that happens a lot. That I will read something and I'm like, yes, in this situation, you're right, but seeing how you talk about the other people in the situation makes you the asshole.
Yeah, I mean, just treating others. Just be decent, dude. It's not
just
hard.
just be nice. But I don't know.
I just
Everyone in the comments is...
there's a lot of misspellings. There's a lot of
Yeah, I don't think "Am I in the Wrong" is a very popular
I also
subreddit either.
I think there's a little bit of rage bait as well going on here.
Yeah, I thought that too,
This
but it was
does
pretty
not feel
short,
very.
so I was just like, we'll get through it. That's insane. Protect yourself if you're getting assaulted. Maybe, especially if no one's doing something about it.
Someone is
Always,
assaulting you. Punch them in the ball sack. Always.
always,
That is a
always
good
like,
message to take
yeah,
home there.
but don't do that just because someone dresses a certain way.
Oh yeah.
Okay, on to our next story. Am I the asshole for lying to my son about our financial situation?
Could go either way.
Let's see if I can zoom in. I'm so blind. Okay. I, 45 female, recently got into a fight with my 22 male son about the fact that myself and my husband allowed him to take out student loans to pay for his college when we were in fact actually very wealthy. To give some context, when our son was born, my husband and I agreed that we wouldn't spoil him and keep our considerable wealth a secret. My husband is a lawyer and I'm a dentist. Okay, that explains it. There we go.
Oh yeah,
I
they
was
got
like,
money.
how rich are
they're
we?
they're good.
They're fine. Despite us living in a big house, we often told him we couldn't afford many of the things he asked for due to our mortgage or other loans we had to pay off. We didn't buy the used car he begged us for on his 16th birthday because he was asking us to pay for more than half of it. He had a job, but he always spent his money straight away. That's what 16-year-olds do.
That is true.
It is good to
They
teach
heard.
them financial responsibility, but like,
Oh, absolutely. But
at least with me, when you grow up not ever having anything you've ever wanted and then you have money to spend, it's like, okay, here's my list of shit that I want, and as soon as I have the money for it, I'm going down that
yeah,
list.
and I mean
That's how
that's
I was,
totally
at
fine in
least.
moderation. I mean, nothing wrong with it as long as you're fine. I mean,
Yeah, and it seems like he
that's all that
had
matters.
about half of what the car was worth, and cars are really expensive
But yeah,
now. Like, you can't really spend like $1,000 on a car and have it be a good one for the most part. Okay, I lost my place. Okay. We wanted to teach him the value of saving. Over time, my husband started to feel guilty, and whenever I wasn't around, he would buy our son things he wanted without informing me. When our son graduated high school, he approached us and asked us if we could assist him with college tuition. I told him we couldn't help him due to our mortgage, even though we never had one.
oh,
That
okay.
Why are we lying so much is my question.
I feel like it's just a matter of distrust, but
I think
I'm still I'm gonna hold off. Who knows?
I think with children, trust is like the number one thing. And that's just like
Absolutely.
with any interpersonal relationship. Like, trust is the number one thing. And when you teach your kid that, like, they can't trust you anymore, they're not going to. They're gonna take that at face
And
value.
it's totally, at least in my opinion, it's totally fine to just, you can not have to support them, especially financially.
Yeah,
I mean, that's something you
but like,
can do, but
make
don't lie
it
about it.
don't make it like, I'm struggling, so I can't do that. So, like, feel bad for me and don't, like, whatever. I think
Yeah,
that's
I'm
just a bit
just
much.
this is something that, this person's going to think about for the rest of their lives. Uh,
Yeah.
that the kid, he's only 22, and now for the next 6 years he's going to think about, his mother had every opportunity to
Yeah.
help, but
And just didn't feel like
unfortunately
it because I don't
did
want to
not.
spoil my kids.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, there's totally, like, spoiling is one thing, absolutely,
But also, like, helping your kid is another,
or just being upfront. It's more than anything. It's just the lack of trust.
For 4 years, my son had to work through college, often sacrificing his social life. One evening after graduating college, he came to us to surprise us for dinner for one night where one of his good friends was eating with us, and his father asked him about college and if he enjoyed his time there. He said no, he never had the time due to work and studying, but didn't hold it against but what? But didn't hold it against, I'm assuming, us, due to our financial situation. The friend says, "Oh, I didn't know you guys were having financial trouble. What was that vacation spot you were gonna buy?" Our son then looked up at us confused and said, "You guys can afford a vacation home? How?" There was a silence as I looked at my husband, begging him not to say anything. My husband stupidly decides to admit to our son that I came up with the idea to conceal how wealthy we were, to force our son to work for everything he has, even though we could have made his life easier by helping out with tuition and accommodation and later his student loans. My son asks about our mortgage, to which my husband replies, "We never had one." Our son then recounts all the times we denied him joy due to our not being able to afford a vacation home and asks if it was all a lie. This is when I spoke up for the first time and said yes, but I only came up with this idea so we could raise you as a humble person who knew the value of hard work. He proceeds to drop his fork and tell me he never wants to see me again. He walks out the door and nearly slams it off its hinges. It's been 2 weeks and he refuses to answer my calls. He does call his dad, but whenever I try to speak, he hangs up. I still don't think I'm in the wrong, and I don't think it's fair our son still speaks to my husband and not me. Is it so wrong we wanted him to be a hard-working person who knew the value of saving? So am I the asshole?
Damn.
100%.
Yes. You are the asshole.
I think she has good intentions.
Yes,
but there's a better way to teach someone how to save. Like, when your kid turns 16, be like, hey, you're going to be an authorized user on this credit card. You use your credit card like a debit card. You don't spend what you don't have and you pay it off early. That's how you build credit, and I'm going to give you this extra start. And this is how much you should be putting into savings. This is like literally an economics class. Any economics class is going to teach you this. But, like, your parents should be talking to you about it too, not lying and telling your son that you're poor so that he can never have anything he's ever asked for, and making him struggle for 4 years to get a degree, have no social life. And, like, people have to do that. Like, I work and I'm going to school and it fucking sucks, but, like, if I didn't have to, that would be so much nicer for me. Like, even if it was like half my loans were paid, that would be amazing. But, like, I can't get over the lying about it.
You absolutely have you have all the power to use your money the way you want to. And there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to give money and financial, but again, dog, don't fucking lie.
She's lying for a reason.
That's what I can't get
because
over
she
that.
knows if she looked at her son and said, I want you to work for everything that you have, and I could help you, but I'm not, she knows he would be upset.
Yeah.
So if we have to lie, why are we doing this?
Yeah. Just be upfront. Just tell him, yeah, we're good, but, hey, I want you to do your part too. I don't want you to be lazy.
Yeah, it's like, let's meet in the middle here.
Yeah.
But
work 20 hours a week. Shit.
Buying a vacation home.
That feels a little gross.
Yeah. It's like, okay, you're doing very well. And people of, like, I'm assuming the parents' age versus people of, like, 22, that kind of generation, are having a much harder start to life in this economy than that. So I'm assuming, yes, she probably worked very hard to get where she is, but it's a lot different.
Yeah. Also, so it's like, I didn't even think about it, but just that trust has been broken. I mean, if you can lie about this massive thing, what little things throughout life, we kind of ruin that for the next 40 years of your life.
So. I mean, it seems like she denied him, like, everything, like asking for something that he wants as a kid, and she's just like, no, we can't, we have a mortgage. And also, like, putting financial stress on your kid is insane. Like, if I had children, they would never know what those, like, numbers were. But, like, I can't imagine being, like, 7 years old and be like, Mom, can I have this action figure? And immediately she's just like, no, I have a mortgage to pay, I have loans, I have this. Like, that's already giving him just this really bad relationship with money. Like, and you're not teaching him anything directly. There's no reason to make this giant lie and hope he figures it out. I hope she gets what she deserves.
Oh, yeah. I mean, clearly, it seems like might be going no contact, so hopefully she...
The dad seems nice. He just seems easily influenced by his wife. Okay, on to our next one. This is coming from r/am I overreacting? This is a new one for me. Wife asked how I feel if she injected me while I sleep. Yeah, I saw that and I was just like, I have to read through this. Because what?
Excuse me?
What? So, for about a month, my wife, 43 female, started injecting herself with a weight loss drug. She has had very minimal results, which I attribute to normal weight fluctuations. One night, she asked me, 40 male, if I wanted to start taking the same meds. I told her no because I can lose weight on my own terms. To prove my point, from Valentine's Day onward, I stopped drinking soda. Just by that simple act, I lost 7 pounds in 1 week. Cool. Awesome. Good for this guy.
Good job. That's sick.
Um,
That's hard to do. I mean,
couldn't be me.
no, yeah, same.
I love my fizzy drink.
Yummy.
On that same night, she asked, "How would you feel if I injected you while you sleep?" I straight up told her I'd be fucking pissed and probably call the police on you. That's very reasonable
Yeah,
because what
I
the
think that's
fuck?
the correct response. In
About,
general.
yeah. Just like, I imagine they weren't even talking about it anymore. She's like, what would you do if I just injected you when you sleep instead?
That's like saying, no, I don't want to have sex tonight. Okay, what if I just,
Yeah, like, what
know,
is happening? Okay, she told
it's
me
fucked up.
why. I didn't want to do any harm to you. I go on and explain I do not consent to the medication, and if she really did that, not only would I call the police, but I'd report you to the state's medical board. At that point, she said I was overreacting because she said I did no harm to you, and just because I wanted to help you, you're going to ruin my career, our livelihood, and our kids' livelihood too. I asked her, what happens if I get a severe reaction from the drug she injects me with? She responded with, that's unintended harm. Believe me, I'm not doing harm by injecting you. And by the way you're responding, I can't trust you anymore. He shouldn't trust her.
Yeah,
What?
that's a little. I mean,
That's.
you can ask the question, and I guess I get it,
I
but
would have
that's
understood if he was
a
like, no, I don't want
fair
to do it. I'm
reaction.
afraid of
So
needles. And she was like, what if I did it for you?
yeah, or even
But
just,
like,
hey,
just.
are you interested in trying this? And if
Yeah,
he
because
says
like,
yeah, but I don't like needles, go from
it's
there.
like a
But
auto injector. Think of like an EpiPen. That's how these
yeah,
work.
yeah.
So, but he was just like, no, I can lose weight on my own if I want to. Which isn't the case for everyone, but like good for this guy.
Yeah.
Uh, but I just, if someone looked at me, like, and it's just like, what if I injected you in your sleep? That's like murderer stuff. Why would you just say that? Like, without having any of that prior conversation being like, oh, I'm afraid of needles, don't want to do it. She's just straight up like, what if I did it in your sleep so you didn't know?
This thing
This
inside
guy
your
needs
body.
to
What if I
run.
just stabbed
He
you?
needs to pack his shit, pack her shit or something. I'm assuming they have kids, so he just needs to fucking run, try to get the kids with him because like what else is she doing? There was a story on Reddit about a dude that was putting slugs in his girlfriend's smoothies and she started dropping a bunch of weight because he
What
wanted
the
her to lose
fuck?
weight and she got like a fucking disease from it or something. Like she got issues because he was putting slugs in her food. And there's another one about a guy putting sawdust in a girl's food that she starts losing weight. And I'm like,
Hey,
when it
babe.
comes to
You want?
doing stuff like
You
that,
feeling okay? You barely touched your slug start. That's fucking. I can't speak. Slug sawdust
when
smoothie.
it comes to tampering with someone's body, fucking run. That's
Oh yeah.
crazy. Like,
That's a little weird.
okay. The discussion went on for a while, and we cannot reach an agreement of how this is not okay. She says that she would do it to help me, but I'm not asking for help. To be clear, she asked how I would react if she injected me while I sleep. She has not done it at all. So that's what you think. What if she has? It's a little needle. Like,
You get kind of sick after. You just get
yeah,
gross feeling,
maybe.
from what I've heard, at least.
Like, some people have, like, no, like, reaction
I've
whatsoever.
heard it's
But, dude, if
very
you
much
start
case by case,
dropping
but yeah.
weight randomly, get the fuck out of here. Already get out of here.
What if it wasn't the
Okay.
soda?
It was that soda. What if
What
it
if
was? Yeah,
it?
I think
What
7
was it?
pounds 7 pounds in a week is a little insane.
It's a lot of
That
soda.
that seems like the numbers, unless he's drinking like a liter a day, that seems like the numbers I would see on a weight loss medication. Because
Yeah.
normally, if you're just dieting, unless you're starving yourself, you're losing about 1.5 pounds a week, and that's it. And if you're doing anything more than that, it's usually just water weight or a medication is physically stopping your body from being able to hold on to that. So I feel like dude's already getting injected. I'm scared for him.
Poor guy.
He's a chip between his toes. She's getting him. And based on the cost of the drug, she probably wouldn't, but to her, my response was an overreaction. It is very expensive. I get that. But what if she's like, I'll split it. It'll be good for both of us. That's what I'm getting from this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have some edits. She has not injected me. I might be able to sleep. I might be able to sleep anywhere at any time, but a slight touch would wake me up. Okay.
Good.
I hope that's true. Also, we both track her meds in intake, and the amount she has not changed. I don't know what's happening.
Oh, so they track how much medicine she's taking.
Okay. If anything, she has more than she is supposed to because she isn't using the meds as directed and never has. When it's supposed to be injected every week, she skipped a week there, here and there. It's because she's saving it for you. She's holding on to it so she can get you in your sleep. Me stopping soda is just one thing I did, but I'd like to say that was the most contributing factor to my weight loss because I used to drink 3 to 4 a day. Okay, that makes sense. Now I switched over to water only and maybe a beer. I quoted her verbatim. English is not her first language, and she mixes both past and present tense constantly. Okay. She got upset at my response because she said, even if you did something horribly wrong, I wouldn't call the police on you. Why would you do that to me? It might be a cultural thing, but that was her response. Maybe,
I mean,
I don't
hey,
know.
at least she's a ride or die. I mean,
Yeah,
she's
she's like,
loyal
you
at
could
least.
murder everyone, and
Might be to a crazy degree, but
she also believes the police will not respond if I call because of how soft on crime police are around here. I don't know if they mean California or Canada. And if they do, she can talk her way out of it.
what do you mean
Edit
by
number.
that?
She's gonna be like, I'll slide you some of my Ozempic.
Semaglutide, get your semaglutide.
So yes, she is a doctor, a doc in CA, so I still don't know if they mean Canada or
I think.
California.
Oh, California.
Okay.
She mentions U.S. next.
And has been practicing for a few years now. We've been married 18 plus years, but I met her while on a mission to India. And when my mission was over, I left, but we kept in contact. And eventually she came to the US and we got married. Okay, so California. We moved to the area where there are more of her culture. Is there a recording? Yes, there is. We get into these arguments and such a lot. I used to record it on my phone, but to be more discreet, I just naturally push the record on my iWatch and it saves it to my phone. Only one other person has the recording and similar ones, and that's my mission partner. If you are feeling like every time you get into a disagreement with your partner, you have to record
That's
it,
a little that kind of changed my
so
opinion a lot.
either number one, you feel unsafe, or number two, you're a fucking asshole and you're just like showing people recordings of like personal conversations.
True.
So either other person's creepy or you're creepy, and I don't know which one it is. And from this, I'm thinking
it could be her.
The wife.
It could be her. Yeah, that does set me off a little bit because asking once could be taken as normal, weird but normal. But this makes it sound like they've had this exact conversation multiple times, which is a little bit more concerning.
Yeah, I am fully aware of California recording laws. We made an agreement years ago to record each other, especially during discussions of her business. No, there's no written agreement, and she could take back her consent at any time. Thus, this recording, along with others that did turn nasty, were only shared with my mission partner. Yes, I'm still in contact with him. We have known each other since we were 10, and we're lucky enough to be assigned together. I think these people are not good for each other. You need to run.
Definitely.
That's insane and terrifying, and I hope you are well and you have gotten away. This is coming from r/am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for convincing my friend he was talking to his dead mom?
What the fuck? Yes. Yes, you are.
That's exactly what I've said to every story here. I've just been like, what? What? What do you mean? What do you mean you're injecting me with Ozempic? Thank you, but
This shit's expensive. I appreciate it, but damn.
$600 a month. Damn, you got money. So, this happened recently, and I'm feeling pretty conflicted about the situation. My best friend, Jordan, male 17, lost his mom tragically last year due to a horrible car accident, and he has been struggling to cope ever since. That is terrible. I am sorry to this person.
I'm sorry, Jordan. That
One
sucks.
night, Jordan and I were hanging out, and he started talking about how much he missed his mom, so I jokingly suggested that we use my Ouija board to communicate with her. Neither of us really believe that they work. Surprisingly, Jordan agreed to using the board. I asked if he was serious, and he said he was, so we used it. We were using it for about 3 minutes, and of course, it didn't work, and I could see his disappointment. I could see the disappointment on my friend's face. I felt horrible, and I even suggested this and worse about what I did next. I started spelling out messages only he and his mom, very few people would know. For example, her childhood nickname for him. This is so bad.
Already
He
too far.
He told me to stop messing around and he knew I was doing it. I swore on his mother's grave that it wasn't me. Not my best moment, I know.
No, sir, that is not your best moment. You have fucked up irreparably.
It kept going for about 10 minutes, and I guess he began to believe that it really was his mom. As he got emotional, he was crying and telling her how much he misses her, so I had to put it to an end. His mom said goodbye to him, and we packed the board away. I knew I had gone too far, and it was too late to say anything without destroying our friendship completely. But here's the thing, he seems now more at peace and grateful for being able to find closure. My intention was only ever to try and bring him a sense of peace, though I didn't plan to go about it this way. Despite how much better he's doing now, I still feel an incredible sense of guilt. I took advantage of a sensitive moment, and now this lie is always going to hang over my friendship with him. It's eating away at me, but I don't think I could ever tell him. I don't know what to do. Am I the asshole?
Damn.
Yeah, man.
I'm
You fucked up.
that's a mix. Let's say overall,
I
yeah, I'm really glad that this has turned around well, but I feel like the only way that you can keep it as a not the asshole is by shutting up and keeping to yourself. I
I
say you just
I think
let him
you
believe it.
had good intentions,
Yeah.
and when you started this and he was like, "Hey, I know you're messing with me," that should have been the end. That's when you should have been like, "Maybe
Should have
don't
called
do
it there.
this. These are teenagers, so not the brightest, but don't interfere with someone grieving, especially when you're this young. That is really important that you get through that on your own terms. Support your friend. Don't tell them that their dead parent is talking to them through a fucking Ouija board.
Yeah.
Like,
What does Waluigi have anything to do with this conversation?
I used to have a Ouija board. I didn't bring it with me when I moved because my
Damn.
boyfriend was scared of it. And I was like, I like how they look, and like look at me in my eyes and tell me you know that this is made right next to Monopoly. Like the other fucking conveyor belt running Monopoly. Sorry, whatever. It's the same thing, and you're gonna tell me that the demons are gonna come out and get me? Like, let me have my decoration.
I have a every time I open my closet door, I have a demon yelling the biggest blackest cock at me every now and again. I think yeah, I think that that Ouija board was produced in the same
Yeah,
uh
maybe.
Same factory as Cards Against Humanity.
Maybe. If you have made it this far, thank you so much. And remember, we do have video on Spotify and YouTube. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to give us a follow because that really helps us out more than you think. And it also helps more people that might be interested find us a little bit easier. So, thank you. Say hi, Sushi. Bye.
Bye!
I also forgot to mention, if you have any personal stories, whether that be something that's happened to you, a Reddit story you just think is really interesting, an update to something I've read that I may have missed, anything that you would want to submit, please go over to our Instagram at Down the Rat Hole Pod. I would love to do an episode one day of just listener submissions, so go ahead and go do that if you have anything. Thank you.